It's always, it's tough going into a place where you know nothing, and there's a certain level of humility, and just, you kind of have to take your designer hat off in a way, and be there to listen first and foremost. A lot of the work in the developing world, the way that many people live in Africa or in other parts of the developing world, it is very sustainable because they use so little. So we as designers actually have a lot to learn from the way that they live and the way that they use what they have. And in going into these communities, it's an equal partnership, and I think that's one thing that designers are missing sometimes is, we go in and we think we have all of the solutions, but really a lot of it is about the problem framing in the first place, and understanding the context and understanding the user first and foremost. And to what you were describing is that sustainability, particularly in work for the developing world, I think is more about what we're designing than how. And I talk about this all the time, but it's more about the purpose of what the thing provides rather than is it made from a green material. And it's all part of an approach, but it's inherent to what we're doing. It's not like this added value that we think about later. It has to be just part of the design process from the beginning.
How important is it?
I lived in Africa for about 20 years, all over the continent, serving U.S. embassies and a lot of different places. And I have to confess I was a little embarrassed because I was living on compounds, and only in 2005 when I was living in Eritrea, it really hit me hard that the problem of lighting was huge. And I really felt compelled to take this on. But tying back into a couple of the comments that were made previously, one of the things that kind of annoys me about some of the design stuff that I see nowadays, that it's been accepted for many, many years, and because I do flashlights, I'm very familiar with it, a conventional flashlight will last 15 hours. And I have one in my office that I bought at Home Depot, and it proudly states on the very expensive labeling and packaging, it's 15 hours. Like it's something they should be proud of. And my product lasts for 5,000 hours. But you don't make money selling batteries every 5,000 hours. You make a lot of money selling batteries at 15 hours. And so I think the whole design concept has to be redone. But what Emily was saying about paying attention to your markets, I was in Ethiopia last year, and I was talking to one of the farmers. And I had kind of anticipated they would use the light for 4 hours a night at high, or 8 to 10 hours at low for security. And what they were really doing was using it a little bit at night, and they were getting up early in the morning. But I asked the farmer, I said, what's the most valuable thing you get out of this? And I thought it would be health or security or reading. He said, I get more live baby goats. Because his whole value system is based upon how much livestock he had. Being able to aid in the birthing process at night, because they live with their animals. And when they were having a difficult birth, before with a kerosene lamp, by the time they got to the lamp, they got it lit, they got to the animal, and it gave very little light for what they needed, they lost a lot of animals. Well, with my light, they could immediately go help with a breech birth, and they had more successful births. To that, gentlemen, that was a huge, huge, huge advantage. For me, I never would have thought of that ever. So paying attention to your customer, even if your customer earns $30 a month, you have to pay attention to them.
I think the word green is just so overused, and the word sustainable is just so overused, and we're not even sure what it means anymore. And my biggest beef with the sustainability is that it is too much about what things are made out of. And like, here's this great product, it's made out of plastic, but it has this amazing social impact, right? And the same thing with the Hippo roller, this plastic water transport barrel that Project H has redesigned. People criticize it because it's made out of plastic, but it also brings enormous, water transport safety and efficiency. So how do you balance those things? And I wish that when we talked about sustainability, it was more about the user and more about the human factors and how it's improving life, rather than these strictly quantitative things like the embodied energy, what it's made out of, which are incredibly important, and we can't take that out of the loop either, but there has to be a balance, and I just think that the human side gets far too often overlooked.
And I see you nodding, as a designer, you have some thoughts on this?
I think the granola eating green phenomenon is actually part of the problem now, not part of the solution. I think the point that Emily's making here is very, very valid. We need to really get closer to the life cycle, the life of people, and make impact in their life without too many ideologies in the room. And plastic is a wonderful material. It's truly a wonderful material. I don't think we could even imagine our modern life without plastic. And it became a derogatory material, derogatory term in the green circles. And maybe we should try not to think green. Maybe we should start thinking blue. I don't know, the color is wrong. Something different should happen.